My dear faculty friends, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the invitation to make my presentation on the importance of peritoneal access and its complication. Friends, let us remember George Kelling, Hans Christian Jacobius for teaching us how safely one should do peritoneal access, because safe access is the first step in laparoscopy. When I say safety, that means you have entered the peritoneal cavity without having any vascular or visceral injury. That is what we need to aim for. And there are, as you can see, at least 6 different ways one can enter the peritoneal cavity. The commonest, I am sure if I take a voting from you, 80% of us will be doing only the blind Verus needle, followed by the blind insertion of the first, or what I call the primary optical trocar. The second, in the difficult period, we will be using a Hassan's technique of open technique. Third, in modern era, we are using more and more of what I call the direct optical trocar system. Though these are the 3 things, but if we ask the gynecologist, they in a postmortem ladies, when they do a short procedure, they used to do what I call the direct blind insertion of the primary trocar and not using the Verus needle altogether. So, these are the various common things. Let us just dive into it. The first important thing what we normally use, we use initially the Verus needle to create a pneumoperitoneum, then we put the blindly the optical trocar. The so called optical trocar is inserted blindly with what I call a leap of faith. So, that is what very important for us to understand. So, that is why people say a direct entry may be all right in a postpartum, but for all our practical purpose, let us stick on to the common technique. Let us understand how safely to do that. First, coming to the Verus needle, thanks to the Janos Verus, he designed this safety with its design with the inner blunt needle, outer sharp needle, and a very important part of this is of course the spring. So, as soon as it enters the peritoneal cavity, its spring helps the inner blunt needle comes forward, so that it will not harm any viscera. And it is not only this design, but also the technique is also equally important, as you can keep watching this video. Once the patient in supine, do not make the patient's position in any way. Patient in supine, make an incision either above, below or through the umbilicus, and then you go 3, just you put enough pressure, 2 distinct areas you will feel. One of course is the linea, next is the peritoneum, that is called a 2-pop test. Then you take a 10 ml syringe with the saline, then you try to aspirate, there should not be any fluid aspirated. Then if you inject, there should be a freely it should go without any resistance. So, this is called aspiration test. But I think the proof of the pudding or the my money is more on the water drop test. I am sure by this time all of you might know, that is you need to just take this syringe, detach it from the hub of the Verus needle, then put a drop of the same saline onto the hub, then with your left hand lift the anterior abdominal wall, and during your lift the water drop will be sucked in very freely, and you can test once or twice just to see that you are very sure that water drop test is satisfactory. That is more or less 90% sure that you are in the free peritoneal cavity like this. But still I think you need to go on 2 more steps if possible, that is when you attach the CO2 and connect it to the CO2 pneumoperitoneum, the insufflator, then you will be able to see that there is a free flow of the CO2 with the lowest pressure, that is around 5 millimeter mercury. So, if the pressure initially, at least if you see the 3 numbers, the first number is the pressure, second is the flow, and the third is the total CO2 administered. So, the first one is very important. The initial stage you should not go beyond 5, 6, 7 like that, and of course, the final one is there is a uniform distension. If all 5 are satisfied, then of course, then you put the telescope, then you can have breathe easy, that is the safe entry. But there are occasions where the patient is having a midline incision, especially lower abdomen. You may have to choose a point called the Palmer's point. Palmer's point is nothing but 2 finger breadths below the left costal margin along the mid clavicular line, and it is indicated especially when you fail couple of times in the midline, especially in a obese patient or even in a very thin patients, and there are other indications, especially when we do appendix in a patient with a lower abdominal mass like a large pelvic mass or a second term pregnancy with appendicitis, you need to consider the Palmer's point. But there are also contraindications, especially if the patient has undergone a surgery in that region, like a previous gastric or pancreatic surgery, or even a patient with a splenomegaly. So, this is Palmer's point. There are two other points like a Jane's point, which is in relation to just medial to the anterior ciliac spine, a vertical line at the level of the umbilicus. This is another point you can consider, or the what we call a Li Huang point. So, these points are used by the gynecologist, but I think Palmer's point is by far most of us will be using. And the next important thing, as I said, is that how you carefully insert the primary trocar. That also is important. You need to make sure you keep it in the thenar eminence, and you have the index as a guide, index finger as a guide, like this what it is shown here. So, only 2 or 3 centimeter of the sharp end or the trocar is available, and then you have to exert the pressure not from your shoulder, but from your wrist twisting movement. Preferably you need to have a sharp pyramidal tip trocar. So, that is very important. The sharpness of the pyramidal tip is equally important, and if it is a 5 mm trocar, make the skin incision 6 or 7 mm. Do not go make a smaller incision, give more resistance, slightly bigger incision, less resistance, controlled entry, that is what you need to aim for. So, this is the next important thing I wanted to share with you, because whatever I say, still if you see, the primary trocar incision is the commonest region for major vascular and bowel injuries. That is why Hassan's cannula and the Harith Hassan from Chicago device is a wonderful device. I think this is useful, especially when you have a patient with a long midline scar. This essentially inserted by what I call a small, or what I call a mini laparotomy, small transverse incision just above the umbilicus. Then you cut the skin's subcutaneous tissue and clearly identify the anterior rectus sheath, and with a small needle, that is usually 20 or 20 mm needle, 10 vicryl, take 2 stage stitches, small vertical incision, then insert your little finger, ensure that there is no adhesions. Then you can put this, the blunt tipped trocar, this is blunt tipped, and you can insert it, and you can, the stage stitch will come to the shoulder shreds like that. So, that will be the place, and the conical tip here, that ensure there is no leakage of CO2. Even if required, you can put some more saline gauze piece all around, so ensure there is no undue leakage. And this particular port, being slightly bigger than the conventional port, can be used for removal of the specimen also at the end. I usually use this for acute cholecystitis cases. So, that is all about the Hassan's cannula, and this is the way, as I said just now, and the way it is inserted, and this definitely excludes the possibility of major vascular injury, but still in open technique is not a guarantee for eliminating the chance of bowel injury, however small it is. You need to be very careful. See, I am sweeping the finger, your finger is the best tactile feedback, ensure there is no adhesions, then slowly you insert that blunt tipped trocar like that, adjusting the size of the cone, then you can go in, then fix it so that it is not accidentally pulled out with a shoulder shreds, what I call, put it in the stage stitches on either side, and if necessary you can put some saline gauze piece all around. So, this is the way Hassan's technique. I am sure you need to see few cases just to master this. Of course, nowadays optical trocar, especially in a bariatric patients, very often you can see with a 0-degree telescope, layer by layer you can see whether you are going, and each hip also people use this. You can go through the fascia, muscle, fascia, peritoneum, but having said that, there are horror stories there also, people enter the bowel even under vision also. So, it is not the technique, I mean it is not the technology, it is the technique that matters, or the man behind the machine that matters. And Ternamian is another trocar we used to use with a spiral trocar with a similar reason. So, you need to just keep screwing as you just to see with a telescope. Coming to the more important thing is always try to have what I call the universal steps for safe access. Every case, especially in the beginning, make sure that patient's stomach is empty, putting a nasogastric tube, because you never know, anesthetist might have insufflated the stomach when they are trying to intubate. Second, always put a catheter, especially when you do a lower abdominal surgery like a hernia, because you never know, patient may be waiting in the recovery for several hours. So, they have a full bladder. So, these are the full bladder, full stomach recipe for disaster. Try to avoid them apart from all other things. Coming to the complications, yes, unless we prevent, this complication can happen, especially the access related injuries, the major vascular injury. I have seen at least 2 cases personally having injury to the aorta and also iliac vessels. How the major retroperitoneal injuries happen, I will let you know, and the more common are the mental vessels, inferior epigastric artery. So, those can be injured. As you can see, there is a large series saying at least 0.05% incidence of major vascular injury. So, that is we need to realize, and you can see the vessels which are commonly injured are aorta, IVC, right iliac vessels especially. The reason is very simple. See, for example, if the patient's the body habitus thin built, this is very obese patients. Normally for most of us, the aorta is just deep to the umbilicus, about only half a centimeter above the umbilicus. But here in obese patients, it is well away, close to 3 centimeter above the umbilicus, because as you can see in obese patient, the umbilicus drops down further. So, that is a very important landmark. So, you are not right here. So, that is why I always say, in a patient who is very thin, you need to direct the trocar right in the midline, do not deviate towards the sacral hollow around 45-degree tilt. Whereas, when the patient is very obese, then you can go directly like 90 degrees, like vertically you can go in, because you know that then there is a less distance to travel, otherwise you will be, the whole trocar will be still in the abdominal pad of fat. So, you need to go only where the green arrow shows that. So, the direction of the tilt differs upon the patient's body habitus. Obese the patient, that is better to go, all the elevation angle is more or less like in 90, because also you know the aorta is well above. The next important thing is, when you just do, because your dominant hand, you try to deviate more to the right side, you avoid that, you just follow the green arrow, watch that you go through the sacral hollow. And even during this primary trocar incision, as I said, the patient should be in a supine position, not head up or head down, because that will confuse you. So, these are all the few things I like to say. In spite of all this, if it happens, even if you do not know, the anesthetist know, because they know that patient will be immediately go into shock. If you put the scope, there will be a lot of hemorrhage retroperitoneally, intraperitoneally, even there is a risk of COT embolism. What do you do? Easily said, do not panic, but of course, you need to get all your team alerted. What I need to ask you to do, at least in the beginning cases, keep the laparotomy set and also a vascular clamp, preferably a satin cis clamp inside, and then do not remove the trocar immediately. There is no shortcut to success. Immediately you need to go for a laparotomy, because a larger trocar induced hemorrhage is not going to seal with the conservative management. So, you keep the trocar, do a laparotomy, put your pack, press, and if you are able to, competent, you do, or wait for your experienced vascular surgeon to come and do the needful of vascular control. Air embolism, anesthetists can recognize when they say that there is a sudden drop in EtCO2. It happens mainly when put the needle right into the vessel or into the liver, or when you use APC. And there are classical findings in addition, like mill-wheel murmur, yet to hear a mill-wheel murmur when you put the stethoscope. But once the anesthetist and you suspect air embolism, immediately what you need to do, or what you can do, stop the pneumo. Patient head down, left lateral, then if possible put a central line, then you will be able to aspirate those air bubbles in the right atrium. So, this is what you can do. So, this is remedial, and the diagnosis is more clinical, and the most important sensitive important investigation is sudden drop in EtCO2. What about the secondary trocars? Yes, when you are not careful, the secondary trocar, when you insert, they can go through the inferior epigastric artery. I am sure all of you know. So, always when you insert all the secondary trocar, it will be always under vision. That is a very important thing. But in spite of that, if there is a bleeding, the trocar itself can be used as a pressure tamponade, or you can use a Foley catheter, or a figure of 8 stitches, or bipolar sutures. There are various ways to circumvent this problem. What about bowel injuries? Can it happen? Yes, especially during varus needle, primary trocar, careless secondary trocar insertion. And there are other reasons for bowel injuries also, but when you recognize, what is more important is, when you see a small injury in the bowel, always have a habit of seeing the other side of the bowel. It may be right through and through. That is what you need to realize. Okay. The next important thing I will tell you is predicting the adhesions. See, for example, sometimes patient may have virgin abdomen, still they can have a adhesion, like 10% of the cases. Here I had one case where the patient had a small bowel stuck in the umbilical region. I went through into the free peritoneal cavity, but it was just actually going right through the bowel and I am not able to realize. So, that is why I always make a point nowadays, before you come out at the end of the procedure, take the telescope from the optical trocar, especially when you do a lap chole, go through the epigastric port, and then from there you see the optical or umbilical trocar. You never know that you might have gone through a omentum, transverse colon, bowel, and that you can only see, then you can sleep better. So, the primary trocar entry point has to be inspected from inside by putting the optic, that is a telescope, through the epigastric port. That you make it a habit once in a lifetime, that will save you from missing an injury. There are other less common complications like a port side sepsis, especially when you have a breach in the disinfection, Mycobacterium cheiloni. Port side hernia, if you do not close anything more than 5 millimeter, ideally you should close. Port side recurrence, when you take any tumor tissue or infected tissue without putting them in the retrieval bag, this can happen, especially is GB cancer. So, ladies and gentlemen, adhere to the safety precautions I just have mentioned, because it is not just having all the equipments, it is the hand holding the trocar, which is by far the most important thing. So, it is you practice, and there are other things like when to use Hazan's cannula, how to avoid major vessel injury, and how to recognize and rectify the bowel injury. All those things you need to understand. Prevention is better than cure. Thank you very much.